Today we're going to be taking a look at the Hercules Monitor 5 speakers. We'll be doing some measurements, do some sound demos at the end, and check them out in my living room as well as here on my desktop. Let's see how they perform. Right now, I just want to give a shout out to my godson, Neo, because I haven't sent you a gift in a while. I think you're one of the coolest dudes I know, and so, yeah, I just want to give you a shout out. I'm thinking about you. This to you. Take care. All right, so these were sent to me by Hercules to review, and initially I was like, Hercules? I think, isn't that the company that used to make video cards? And in fact, I had to go back and look at the logo. Yes, Hercules used to make video cards back in the day, and so the fact that they sent me these speakers, I was a little bit confused, so I had to go and do some research to kind of get an idea what kind of speakers did they make. And so I saw some that to me looked a little bit questionable, but when I looked at these, you know, they did look a little bit better than some of the other ones that I saw. But I saw the yellow cone, I immediately thought of some of the other yellow cone speakers that are very popular, the KRKs, Bowers and Wilkins, some others. So that's the first thing I thought of. Second is I noticed the odd shaped ports, and I was kind of curious about how that sounded. And then I looked at the dimensions and it looked a bit off. I saw a small 5-inch woofer in a cabinet that looked kind of big. It looks like they probably could have fit a 6.5 maybe in a cabinet this size. So I was a bit skeptical at first, but what I told them was, hey, you know what? If you guys are confident in your product, go ahead and send it out, and if it's good, then I'll tell you guys about it. Well, here I am. So these came in the mail, and I went ahead and unboxed them. Pretty simple. It was the speakers, a power cable, manual, and a few other small things. I did notice that these felt pretty hefty, which is usually a good sign. It means that they're using either denser wood or higher quality components, maybe a bigger magnet in the driver. And so that was something that was surprising to me. They feel good. I'll tell you right now, the look is actually kind of growing on me. I'm using them here at my desk, and yeah, I kind of like the way they look. This is not one of the more expensive speakers that I've reviewed, but the veneer looks pretty good on this. I didn't see any seams, and overall, it was pretty nice. On the back, you'll notice the plate amplifier, and you'll see some switches to be able to adjust the sound, and we'll go through those in a second. These are front ported, which is good if you're gonna use them near a wall, like I have them here, and it helps with that because you don't have the ports pointed towards the back. So let's go ahead and take a look at the back here. You do have the option for RCA connections, also balance connections using an XLR or a 1/4-inch TRS connection. You also have the ability to adjust the treble and the bass plus or minus 2 decibels. So that's helpful. So here are my initial listening impressions. All right, so I just quickly hooked these up right here. It's not the ideal situation. I know these are meant for near field listening, but I just hooked these up, listen to them real quick, and I can just tell you right now, like, initially I was very impressed. I mean, these sound much better than I expected them to. I mean, the build quality, all that feels good, but sound quality, first impression, I was impressed. Sometimes, you know, after you've reviewed this many speakers, you know right away if a speaker is good or bad. I have my test tracks that I use, and I couldn't trip them up. Pretty much everything that I threw at them sounded as they should. It sounded good. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the specs here. So from their website, it shows it does have an on and off switch. It does have a light to let you know when it's on. It's on the front, so that makes it nice and easy. These are made for music production, so they do have their own plate amps on each speaker, and there is a master volume knob on the front of each speaker as well. You can also adjust the low frequency cutoff from 56 Hertz, 80 Hertz, or 100 Hertz, and that's handy if you're gonna be using these with a sub. So you can probably use these with a typical powered sub if you have RCAs coming out from your interface, but some of the powered subs that are made for studio monitors, they actually have balanced XLR or balanced TRS connections that you can use to go into the sub and out from the sub to these, and that's the preferred method. These have 5-inch woofers. This does use a 1-inch soft dome tweeter and a waveguide, nice waveguide here, and that is supposed to help off axis, and it does what it's supposed to do. 80 watts per channel. I believe it's 50 watts going to the woofer and 30 to the tweeter. I also did some in-room measurements of these speakers. Let's go take a look at those right now. So this is the Hercules Monitor 5s. So I did test these at reference level 85 decibels, and as you can tell, these are performing very well very flat. This is using psychoacoustic smoothing, and of course this is in room. So keep that in mind that this is my in-room response. It's not perfect, but you kind of get an idea what the speaker is doing. Overall, very flat. The top end does have an increase, but very nice top end. Slight dip. This is probably the crossover region here. And overall, throughout the mid-range and the bass, it is flat. The -3 dB point is here at 53 Hertz. -6 decibels is at 48 Hertz. And -10 decibels, we are at 37 Hertz. And so what you'll notice is the roll off here, although it does start rolling off pretty soon below 60 Hertz, it does roll off pretty smoothly, and which means that you will still hear that bass. I did try some of the switches in the back, and it just does exactly what it says. Increases or decreases the treble by plus or minus 2 decibels. It does the same for the low end. Overall, I would say as far as sound, bass, here in the living room, bass was more than I expected. This is a 5-inch woofer. I wasn't expecting much, but they did choose to go with a larger enclosure, and I think that was a good choice. I'm gonna go ahead and lump the mid-range with the treble. The mid-range is nice and flat. I didn't experience any points where I felt like it was missing or there were some real drastic dips there in the mid-range, and so I was happy with that. As far as top end, it was very revealing, but not overly fatiguing. Just nice, as you would expect from some accurate studio monitors. Now, near field is where these are supposed to be, and that's where I have them now. A lot of times, speakers will sound much different if I have them in my living room versus here at my desk. They're meant for a desk, and I'm happy to say that all the things that I liked about them in my living room, I also liked about them here at my desk. It scaled well from a near field situation to a larger environment. The other thing that you have to be concerned with active or powered monitor speakers is that the amplifier is on all the time. Whereas with normal speakers, they're passive and you control the volume using your amplifier. With these, you're actually controlling the volume on your interface or on your computer, whatever the source is. So you can control the max volume on these amplifiers, but for me, I have them typically at 50%, so I can turn it to about as loud as I'd want them to be and as low as I want them to be. You can turn them up higher if you need to, but just keep in mind that you have to be careful of noise or hiss coming from the amplifiers. A lot of the lower end amplifiers tend to have more noise than others, and I'm happy to say that these are actually very quiet. I was surprised how quiet these are near field. Now, it's not so much of a problem when you have them in a living room, but when you're near the speakers and if you're in a quiet environment, you'll hear some of the hiss from some of these other speakers. They're both at 50%. Okay, so here's this one. So I will have a sound demo at the end, so if you're into that sort of thing, stay till the end. As always, we have to check these out on the speaker leaderboard. Let's go check it out. All right, so here they are. These fit in a few categories. Powered speakers is one of them. So powered speakers, this category is a little bit tricky here because it's just a speaker with an amplifier. It could be something that's used for a desk, or it could be something that's dedicated for a living room. And these are dedicated for a desk. They're made for near field listening, although they do work in other scenarios. So as far as this, the problem with the Hercules Monitor 5s is that they're not as flexible as some of these other offerings. Like some of these have Bluetooth capabilities. They have abilities to connect them directly to your computer using a DAC. And this doesn't do that. This just, it needs an interface to connect to. And so for powered speaker usage, as far as feature set, I'm going to have to place them a little bit lower than I would like to. Sound quality wise, I'd put them much higher. But let's just say for powered speaker usage, I'm going to just put them right here below the Kanto U4s. The Apple HomePod does do more. It's just sound quality wise, the Hercules Monitor 5s are just so much better that it kind of outweighs some of those differences. So as far as best bookshelf, this is a mixed category. This has powered speakers and passive speakers. And so as far as a good bookshelf speaker, bookshelves right above the AI60s. They do sound better to me than the AI60s. Now, this is where they're meant to live as far as best for desktop. These are gonna have to go pretty high up here. Okay, so Vanitu's have more features, but I personally like the Hercules Monitor 5s better at my desk because I do a lot of editing. So I'm going to go ahead and allow the Hercules Monitor 5s to be up on top. They're just that good. As of right now, around $299. So they will fit in here under $500. And under $500, we have a lot of competitors. We have, let's see here, the Dynas. We have some floor standing speakers. I'm going to have to say that these are just going to go right here as far as enjoyable sound under $500, right under the Wharfdale Diamond 11s. I mean, I could play some higher too, but I think for just general music listening, I prefer the Wharfdales. Just a little bit easier for normal everyday listening. So last but not least, best overall sound regardless of price. Sound quality wise, let me just kind of do a rundown here. The Dynas, more bass, more fun to listen to. The Totem Kin plays, they do some things that are very good in a room. These guys are very experienced, and so there are things to like about these. So I would say bass-wise, they're about equal to the Monitor 5s. Maybe with the Monitor 5s having maybe even a little bit more bass. The Kanto Tux have way more bass than the Monitor 5s, but it's just not as refined. It kind of has a wild frequency response. And the Transparent One Encores, they sounded great at the desk, very flat, and they just sounded a little bit small in a living room compared to the Monitor 5s that could sound good in a smaller to mid-sized living room. Now, the Vanuatu has updated their speaker to address some of those issues, but as of right now, I haven't updated, so I'm going to have to put the Hercules Monitor 5s right here between the Kanto Tuck and the Vanuatu Transparent One Encore. So there it is, the Hercules Monitor 5s. Now, as of this video, I haven't seen them on sale anywhere. I looked on Amazon, B&H, and all different sources, and I couldn't find them for sale. Maybe it's because they sent these to me relatively early, but I will link to them in the description once I do find a place that sells them. Overall, I am very impressed with these speakers. Happily, I'm kind of glad that I didn't go with my instinct and say no, I don't like the way they looked at first on the website. I gave them a chance, and I'm very happy that I did. I think at the price point, these are excellent. If you're planning on using them at your desk especially, I think you're going to be very happy at this price point. I've had other studio monitors here that are relatively inexpensive, and I think these are the best ones that I've heard so far. Now, normally you know that I have my Dynas here, and I love my Dynas. My Dynas have a ton of bass, but for what I'm doing, I'm editing video, I'm doing podcasts, I need accurate, and I think that these Hercules Monitor 5s are more accurate than the Dynas, and so although they're less fun, they have less bass, I think that these might be the ones that stay here. We'll see. So that's it. I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified when I upload new videos. And thank you to my Patreon supporters. I really appreciate what you do on a monthly basis for me. It really helps me do what I do and helps me provide content for you guys. If you're not already a Patreon supporter, make sure to check it out at patreon.com/JoeandTell. Anyway, that's it. Stay till the end if you want to see the sound demo. Take care.
Hard working every day, I'm stressed out 24/7, babe. No timeouts, wish we could fly away. You and I go to our favorite place. Oh yeah, make special memories together. I'll be your company now and forever. I say we fly away, you and me, go to our favorite place. Feeling the sun on my face in Hawaii. With you, Hawaii. With you, Hawaii. With you, Hawaii. I need a summer